Alright, time for a new monthly drawing video. And because it's a new video means I have a new location where I'm going to be recording, so we'll see how this one works. It's just a little tough to, find places around in the house where people aren't going to be busy going and making noise and such. So we're going to have to try and find a way to limit those things. So, in addition to that, I'm also, with this video once again starting from just a completely blank canvas, so you'll to see kind of once again the whole process of figuring stuff out, moving stuff around, and finding a good way to get it that I like, and so that the drawing will come together. I do know in this one there is a detail that I thought about doing early on that I ended up scrapping at the end, or before the end, so it never actually makes it into the final product. So that's just, I guess, a little interesting difference for a while. But yeah, so if you're wondering what this is, I do a webcomic called Gnosis. These are just kind of the monthly voting page I do, so for people who can vote for Gnosis on the top webcomic stuff, and for to go out to awards. And so this is just a drawing video to try and help draw some more attention to Gnosis. This is ultimately a advertising thing at the end of the day. Sorry if you had higher thoughts of what it was than that. And so that's just kind of what this is, and I hope that you enjoy this video, and if you watch the other ones, I hope you will enjoy those as well. So kind of on theme that I've been doing over the last few months is working out, trying to, I guess in part, is improve my art style, because I do have another comic story I want to tell after Gnosis, and we're still a long ways off from that. But to tell that story, I recognize I need to improve my art a lot. And so I'm trying to figure out more kind of the dark fantasy style and art. And this was the very first attempt of that one was, I think, was like called like a Kitsui dark metal, or something like that. And then we had Levita Mana Cathedral Priestess last month, and so this one we got the Kitsui. I think I called this one Demon Circuitry. It was inspired by a Beast in Black song by the same name. And I really wanted to try and experiment with the drawing the abs and such. So we'll see how well that goes. To which I don't know how that turned out. I know I made some mistakes in them, mostly experimenting with trying to create a definition using shading and highlighting and such on it, and as such I lost some of the shape in there. But we'll see that more towards the end. I think this also did a good job at finding kind of that art style of, I went too far into kind of like the cybernetics of the art style that I want with it. And so that was a good way, ultimately finding the end point of that, kind of what I want that setting to look like and such. So yeah, it lots of interesting, I guess, details that have gone on into these last few months of the pages, trying to find a style and start working on stuff. I might have to. I know next month's is already going to be done in a kind of that same style and setting, and I might have to change up what I'm drawing just so people don't get bored with it. But let me know if you're bored. Let me know if you want me to keep going with it. Go ahead and let me know, and I'll do more of that too, because I've been having fun kind of finding my footing and pushing myself more with that style. So yeah, that's just kind of, I guess, a bit of a update as to behind the scenes, that there is these themings going on with the drawings that have happened over the, like I said, 3 months, is soon to be 4 months at this point. And so if you've been feeling like they've been all very samey with each other, that's kind of why they've been all samey. But yeah, so kind of moving on with I guess, the stories this month. It occurred to me that I dropped the ball a bit, that I should have Halloween stories in the month of October and Christmas stories in the month of December, and so on and so forth. But yeah, whatever. Maybe that's something I'll do next year. I'm still figuring out some of these YouTube video stuff. So it's all part of the learning process. I guess that's a bad thing of how I learn. I very much learn in the field, and so a lot of my mistakes go out, which is great for documentary purposes to see how I've improved over time and such. But it does mean that my first foot forward, perfect example right there, are not always the smoothest and most polished. So yeah, just fun, enjoyable stuff there. But I thought this month, what about Thanksgiving stories? Well, those aren't always the most interesting stories out there. So what else goes great with Thanksgiving? Family time. So I thought, hey, how about some family stories? And so I got one for each member of my family, kind of combining my parents. And so I thought, I'll just share those, and let's have just the number season. So the first one kind of sorry, just got distracted by something that looked like it was glitching out on my recording session. Like I said, rough first steps forward. So we come home, and she tries to open the garage door. The garage door isn't working, so she gets out to see what's wrong and what's going on. And she exits the car, and we're sitting there. We're just being kids. We don't really care or know what's going on. And she all of a sudden starts screaming, and we jump and we look at her, and we see her run around the side of the car. And we see coming from the bushes next to our driveway is my dad with a big old super soaker. He had come home early, hid his car, and disabled the garage door opener so she would have to get out. And he ambushed her, and so he's chasing her around the car with the super soaker. And the funny thing is, from her perspective, she gets out and is wondering what's wrong with the garage door opener, and she sees out the corner of her eye these bright colors from the gun. And my dad realizes the moment that she sees it, because she kind of twitches or moves a bit. He's like, "I've been spotted," and just opens fire on her and starts hosing her down. So that was just a really fun memory from being a kid. Just kind of remembering, I guess, just with my parents, that they really did get along with each other, and they like each other a lot. They still do like each other a lot and get along great. So it's just something real nice to be able to see as a kid and growing up and having that recognized real early. In that same house, one of the earliest memories I have of my first brother is I was asleep in our room, and I guess he was up, and my mom told him to get us up. This is Fluffyhead McMillan. That's his code name, if I remember correctly. And so he comes running, jumps over the foot of my bed, launches himself, and just body slams on top of me to wake me up. So I'm not entirely sure how it all happens, but that's just one of my earliest memories of Fluffyhead McMillan. But it was in that same house, and the one with the squirt gun ambush, so I mentioned that we had the big bushes next to our driveway. To, I guess, illustrate it a little bit, our driveway kind of went down, and so our basement was actually, our garage was actually in the basement of the house. This made it really difficult to shovel in the winter, because all the snow from your driveway would slide into your garage, which meant the hardest packed stuff was the furthest away from where you needed to move it. But I didn't have to shovel that too much because I was a little kid, so that was mostly my dad. And by the time I was old enough to have to be shoveling the driveway, we had moved houses and had where the driveway was up more, so it would slide out more towards the street. Just some more random detailing, with, I guess, going on. But along this driveway, we had a lot of big pine bushes and just big old pine trees that were taller than the house. And so I was sitting with my dad out kind of on the curb of our driveway, and we were just talking, and Fluffyhead McMillan was climbing the pine tree behind us. And all of a sudden, I heard this thump, 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 thump. He slipped and fell and just ragdolled all the way down to the tree and landed flat on his back. And when I mean ragdoll, it was like a terrible, terrible cartoon, because the branches weren't thin that he would fall through them. No, they were thick. So it's like he would hit one, flip over, hit another one, flip over, hit another one, flip over, and just did that all the way down. And I can't remember if they took him to a hospital or not. He was fine. Nothing was broke. I don't remember anything being broken or damaged too permanent, but yeah, that was just a really scary moment with just how calm everything was, and then just how bad it all went immediately. But yeah, so he's fine now. He's probably a little too fine, honestly. He's happily married, got the cutest little daughter, has a good career going. So yeah, he's not only is he okay now, he's doing a little too fine. So yeah, everyone who prayed for him during that time, you can stop now, please. But yeah, so that was a prominent memory I have of him. The second brother, the albino chimp. By this point, this happened into the house we moved at, so it doesn't involve shoveling driveways, but this is, I guess, just painting that picture of how things have changed my life. And I can't remember how much older I was at that time. I think maybe 12 or so, because I could be a bit of a punk, but the albino chimp, he loves candy, and so he had a sucker or something that he was just licking, just being happy, and I start messing with him, pin him down, acting like I'm going to bite his sucker he had. It was like a big one, and he just starts screaming. I'm not mean no, I mean he just one long escalating a pitch scream, just It was just, I wasn't really going to lick it or bite it or anything. I just started laughing so hard that his whole defense mechanism was to just do a supersonic scream to save his sucker. So I think I bit at it or something at that point, just because it was so funny. But yeah, so that was a great memory I have of him. It's not always so much like we tormented him or anything like that. It's just he is very good at making weird sounds, and even still today. I remember when we fast forwarding years now, when he was 21, picking him up from coming home on his mission, and it's been 2 years since we had seen him, and so we're walking out of the airport, walking into the parking garage, and he just goes or something weird like that. It's oh, he's back. He's still the same. But yeah, so he's very fine, enjoyable, a lot of fun. He's a bit like a cockatool. Him and my first sister are like cockatoos. They just absolutely up, make the weirdest sounds, and do the strangest dances. So if you have ever seen cockatoos, that's what they're like. And speaking of my sister, this goes to my first sister, the writer, which she's just recently published her 5th book, I think it is, and finished her very first series. So that's been a big achievement in her life. She's worked on this for years at this point, and her first series is done, and so there's a bit of a. I remember when I finished Gratz, there's a bit of kind of wandering and soul searching almost you do at that point, because it's like, now what? This moment in your life, your life has evolved around this so much, and what do you do now? And much like me, she's working on another book. Hopefully, we'll hear about that before too long. But yeah. It's called The Defenders of Radiance. You can get them on Amazon. They're pretty good books. A pretty good, solid series. And so if you want a good fantasy young adult series of books, go for it. Pick it up. Read it. It'll be good and fun. So yeah. So there's an extra little plug for you, Ryder. I hope you enjoy those. And I should say that's right. Writer, not rider. But yeah. Anyhow, so a real big memory I have of her is we were in college at the same time. I had done a lot of the community college and kind of changed my degrees a few times and done a lot of the low-level stuff around home. And so when I went to do my higher level courses, she was just starting off with her low-level courses, so we went to the same, and she wanted to go to a real college, so we went to the same college together. Fluffy Ed McMillan was also there, working on his degree too. So we go to college, and it just wasn't working out for us. I wasn't doing very well there, and I wasn't happy with the kind of the with the course I was on, and things weren't going that great for her either. They just weren't working out. So we decided that after one semester there, we were done. We were going to come home. It helped that my apartment flooded at that time. So there's a disaster of a story that I can't remember if I shared or not. But yeah, I was like, okay, let's get out of here. So we load up her car and we're driving home, and partway through the drive, probably halfway or whatever, we stop at a gas station to fuel up, go to the bathroom, and different stuff like that. So I'm in the bathroom and I come out, and she's looking at me with just the biggest saucer plate eyes I've ever seen her do. And I'm like, what? And she kind of looks over into the gas station. I look over, and there's a cinnamon bun in there. Out of all the gas stations we have driven past, I found the one with a cinnamon bun inside it. Now, she loves cinnamon buns. She's got a real sweet tooth. And so, I get some cinnamon buns. It's like, well, I need some food too, some drinks and such. And we just get in the car, pull into the parking lot, so I can eat my food and she can eat hers. I'm driving, so I need to eat my food. I'm semi-stationary. And once I'm done, we take off, and she gets on her phone and calls up her boyfriend, who she does end up marrying him, so her to-be future husband in 6-7 months time at this point. And we're just driving home, and she is full of cinnamon buns. She just called her I'm trying to think of a good nickname. Her teddy bear, and she's done. She's done. She's completely comfortable, so she falls asleep. And it's not like she falls asleep up in her chair. No, she curls up like a cat and is sleeping on her side in the passenger seat of the car. Just somehow she fits in there. And it's just like having a cat riding a shotgun, and she just looked so comfortable and happy. And that's one of my favorite memories of her. Just driving along and her just snoozing on by. She missed some really cool landscapes that we ended up driving through at that time. It had just been raining, and so a lot of vegetation had sprouted up that usually isn't there, and there's nice low clouds as we went through some canyons, mountains. That was just really cool to see. But yeah, so she was just looking happy. 10 years apart or something like that in age. So we didn't have a lot of overlap. It was just a very long time in between our circles and such. And so there's not always a lot of stories, and it took me a bit to try and remember which one really stood out to me. And one that stood out to me was we had been living out back east for a long time, and we were visiting some of my mom's dad's side of the family locations where he grew up and such. He's from the Appalachian Mountains, and so we were kind of going through there. We visited his old farm. I think I mentioned this in a previous story, that this was a guy who his dad blew out the basement from underneath their house with dynamite while the house was still there. And we went and visited that property. And so we're walking, and so we're kind of, the people who live there now were real nice and let us kind of walk around the property and see where he grew up and lived and such. And it's a bit of ranch. It's got a lot of land, horses and such there. And so we were walking up this big hill that was there, and I was carrying the koala on my back, like a good koala, giving her a piggyback ride around the place because her little legs, it was going to be a very long walk. But I remember walking up the hill with her, walking down the hill. We're looking at the horses and such, and it was just a nice little moment to have with her, that I was able to be useful and help her during that time. The gap there offered a lot of benefit. She was small and I could offer help. But yeah, so that's just a nice little moment with her, and she's doing well now too. So it's good that it's good. It's just really nice that with all my siblings are doing pretty well, that things have been good for them. That I think in my family we very nice parents that loved each other and supported each other and loved us kids, and taught us very well, but always wanted to spend time. My mom was telling us about how when I was younger, I had trouble with speech. Amazing now, if you think about it. Here I am talking and sharing stories. Still have trouble with speech, but it was worse back then. And so I was put into preschool to practice hanging out with other kids and talking and such. And because I did that, we had to do that, and because and the writer, she wanted to also, but by that point my mom was like, I want my babies, all right, you're going to stay home. And so it's just always something that was nice, that she wanted to be a mom. She wanted us around. She wanted us to bring our friends over, and our friends and our friends liked her too. One of the kids I was friends with, he would call her mom also, but that our house was always just a very warm and welcoming place. And just how early in my life I got to see just what an impact that makes, and how different it is from my friends whose parents to go to work or didn't always have both parents around and such, and just how I guess you could say tough, but missing things could be. And it's not like any of them were bad. They were just different circumstances in their lives. So, yeah, I guess if those are just some nice stories. I don't mean flex hard or anything like that. Family. If there's anything to go on from it, I hope it's just that you can think about what are nice family stories you have that be shared with them. Maybe if you like, one of the funny things I talked about, like with when I got cancer, and that story was that weekend everyone wanted to play video games with me, and I said, well, glad it takes for me dying before anyone will do stuff with me. But like as they say, it's why do we wait and I think so. Why do we wait until people are gone or are about before we try and do stuff with them? Why don't we live we always do with them? Spend time together, good memories of each other. And so I guess that's just something that this Thanksgiving, I know everyone likes on the holiday, some good out of it. Find your siblings or parents that you like and make some good memories, and or share good memories you have with them. But yeah, so I'm glad that you've hopefully enjoyed listening to these these rambling stories and all the missteps and such. And I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. I guess that's coming up here next week. Sorry, this movie the 15th, so middle of the month, but the 15th was in a weird spot this month, and I didn't have the time or it ready for next week. So, but yeah, if you want more Gnosis, go ahead and come check us out at you can use the links. Check. It's usually 3 times a week there. The art is getting better, I feel like. In the last few weeks I've really made some breakthrough with how I do my drawing and my artwork and such, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And so it's going through a bit of, I guess you could say, step up revolution on it. We'll have to see how that continues and what that that more and more. But yeah, so thank you for joining me. You can get this drawing by becoming a Patreon member for just $5 a month. And if you tell it here, you'll get this drawing and a special Patreon members only drawing. And so I hope that you enjoy both of them, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving and rest of your day. Thanks, and take care.